Take us back to Thursday night and give us a little preview about Jack State.
Yeah, obviously it was a tremendous night, tremendous environment. Our fans and their student body especially just make it just an unbelievable place to play, and what all we do there, especially going into the Flames quarter, for us to find a way to win when we didn't play our best. I was very pleased with that. There's obviously, as you watch the game, as we watched it, and you come back, there's a lot of things we did really well and some things you feel like you left out there. But I think anytime you find a way to win a challenging game, and especially whether that's a drive by the offense or a kick or a way the defense got, 5 stops inside the 4-yard line there in the last how many seconds. And so just, huge for our confidence, but also huge for our belief that when you even don't maybe play as good as you hope you should or as you can, we can still find a way. And then now you have to go forward, quick turnaround, obviously traveling and playing a really good opponent, good team, and it's going to be an extremely physical football game. And so we've got to turn the page quickly and get ready to go.
Unfortunately, injuries have been a big storyline. I hate to ask about them. Coaches don't like to talk about them, but it's just a reality right now, and especially coming off a short week like this. Elijah Hopkins, I know he went down. You give us kind of an update on him and just some of the others here that are banged up.
Yeah, Elijah really was friendly fire, and so he'll be out. We're hoping maybe by the open week, he'll come back. It's an injury. It's a serious injury, but it's not a season ending, and so which is a positive for him. So hopefully he'll get back sooner rather than later. But he won't be playing. We did get banged up in some other areas, but he's the one right now that I would say is definitely out. We're hoping that Quentin Cooley came back in the game. We'll see how he is. Hoping maybe Billy Lucas comes back this week. Some guys that missed. Chris Bodie will still be out. He won't be back anytime this week. Hopefully, maybe by the following week, we'll see what happens with him. But today is our first practice. From I say first practice. We had a walkthrough yesterday. First practice. So we'll see how guys move around today and find out if they're going to have a chance to be cleared or not.
And Noah was dressed. I mean, he probably could have played.
Yeah, Noah was banged up, and we made the decision. I think just from if he needed to go in, we probably could have used him. I don't know if he felt 100% comfortable and where he was at, and so we're hoping by today, tomorrow, that he feels really, really good. And he goes through a practice today, and then hopefully by tomorrow, if everything feels good, that he'll be cleared to come back.
Did you learn?
You had the walkthrough last night. How did you feel the team, was responding? That's typically the day after the game. You have the day off. How do you think they were as far as mentally and physically?
Yeah, physically, we had some guys. That was obviously that game was the closest game we played throughout the fourth quarter, so that we exerted a lot there. So from a physical standpoint, they're not used to that flip, that turnaround, and then obviously mentally as well. So that was our big talk about just being able to flip that switch, and we have to really lock in. And so we had we was about an hour or so, and I thought they did a nice job of being locked in on that. Today, to me, is going to be the biggest challenge because it's 2 days afterwards, but we have to do more than we normally would, and they have to be able to be ready for that. And so, and it's a Saturday, and they're used to laying around waiting for a game or watching college football. So there's a lot of different things. So they'll be ready for it. But I was pleased with last night, and today we'll see mentality wise, what they bring to the table.
Coach, how do you look to utilize the momentum that you've built over the past few games when you guys are undefeated? How do you utilize that momentum heading into this next Jacksonville?
Well, I think what you do is you look and see, you look at, obviously we are 5-0, and in every game there's done some really good things, some things that you definitely want to improve, but we found a way to win in some challenging circumstances, whether we created that our own or whether it was by the other team. And so I think what it does give you confidence to know, hey, no matter what the circumstances are, we can figure out a way to get it done. And that is good for your momentum because you believe, and I think that's one thing our team right now, they believe. And that was great for our belief because it went down to the wire, and I don't think anybody on that sideline was doubting, no, we're not going to make a play, from last week. And so we've been on the road and been able to win. We've been in some challenging circumstances, and we've been able to do that. So I do think it is a positive for us, and we'll need that obviously going into a national television game, going into a really, really good opponent that is playing well and playing confident, and going to an environment that's going to be challenging and different than we've experienced up to this point.
I think the rushing totals were maybe the lowest they had been. I need to double check that, but just running the ball didn't come as easy for you guys the other night, it felt like. Was there something that they were doing well? Were they fitting it a little bit better maybe than others had, or was it just a product of not having Lucas and Quentin was a little banged up?
What did we end up rushing for?
Look it up, I'll tell you.
191. So if you take out, here's the way I look at that. 191 was pretty good, but could we have been better? Yeah. So I think they were good up front. I think they did a nice job up front. But also we had some plays that could have got out, and we had opportunities, and we missed block something, or we didn't block it right, or this or that. So I think if you look back, we probably left out there on 2 or 3 plays where we'd have had some big plays that would have made 230, 220, 230. So we weren't as clean, and I thought we were credit goes to them because they were good in the box up there. But also I think we did some things just not blocking the right people. We went the wrong way a couple times, and we didn't play offensively, just didn't play as crisp as we had. I always worry about that sometimes when you have an open date. I think sometimes you lose your momentum. And but I give Sam Houston credit because I think they were really good at what they did. But also there were some things that if we'd have handled our business, then you're probably looking at 200 plus something, and you don't feel as bad, or you're trying to make me feel bad about it.
Speaking of the rushing, now you go to Jack State. They've been really good against the run, holding opponents 112 yards on the ground so far this season. What have you seen out of them? What do they do that makes it so difficult to run the ball?
Well, they've got really good players. I think they do a great job scheme wise. They're physical, and they run and they chase the ball. And they're very relentless in what they do, and they pride themselves on being a physical group, and they're just going to keep coming after you. And they use unique schemes that confuse you and do some of those things. So they're really good at tackles for loss and some of those things. And so we'll have to be really sharp on the things that we do as far as just executing, because what they try to cause havoc and all the different things, and then if you're not handling your business, then it makes it worse. And but I think they swarm the football and they play with a lot of confidence, and it'll be our biggest challenge.
Along those lines, you look at them on offense. They've been down double digits now 2 straight weeks. Doesn't really faze them. They always feel like they're in the game, and then that tempo that they run too. How much of a challenge are those things?
Well, it is. They do. They have gotten down, but their defense has caused a lot of turnovers. Special teams has caused turnovers, and it allows the offense to get back out there and continue to do that tempo. And the thing when you run that type of offense is that you might slow it down. And then if they're constantly out there, they're just going to eventually wear you down. And that's what they've done the last 2 weeks. They've wore their opponents down there in the second half, and they play well against each other. They play good complementary football. So we're going to have to obviously line up fast and do a great job there. And then we're going to have to do our part offensively too, as far as not going 3 and out and giving the ball right back, because that's where teams have tried to sometimes match their speed, and they went 3 and out and given the ball right back to them, and so their defense is right back out there. So we have to do a good job of holding on the ball on offense and keeping it and sustaining some drives.
So, Coach, is it fair to say that this week is more so about cleaning up the little things heading into the
Yeah, I think you have to do that. Details are going to be vitally important because of the different things that they do, and we don't want to beat ourselves, right? If we go down there and we play well and they beat us, okay, I have no problem with those things, because I know what we're trying to build program wise. Where you get frustrated, Coach, even in your wins, is you find a way to win, which we have, but there's certain things, how we need to be better at. And so that's been our push the last 2 or 3, is just playing our best for 4 quarters over that consistency, and we've not got there yet, and so we need to get there.
For you personally, what are some of the pros and some of the cons that you've kind of identified of things that you really do have to work on?
Well, I think anytime you win, it covers up everything. Everybody thinks you're great, and they're telling you all these things, and players start believing that. And then you watch the video and go, hey, this wasn't that great. And so I think we're playing hard. We're playing with outstanding effort, and our belief is very strong, which is what you need to have a successful program. But if you want to consistently be a championship program, then you have to, from a detailed standpoint of not beating yourself. We had to delay game penalties, all those little things there, making sure we have 11 on the field, some of those things. Those are things that we've been harping on, those things that beats Liberty. Our whole push is about Liberty doesn't beat Liberty, and Liberty, and so those are the things I'm talking about.
Logan Smothers, Zion Webb, two quarterbacks they've been playing. Seems like just about rotate them pretty frequently. What have you seen out of those guys? Are they pretty similar in what they do with both of them? Do they try to do a little bit different things with the two? And what are their strengths?
Well, they're not going to change much as far as what they believe in from their tempo and all those things. Obviously, I think they go with the hot hand, and they both can run. They both bring challenges. Webb, played a lot of the game last week and did, and played pretty well and did a good job. So obviously, you expect to see him. I think if you struggle, maybe put the other guy in there. I could see him putting both out there at the same time, trying to do a little bit of mix of that. So the thing that you have to do a great job of is. We have to try to make them, when they're throwing the ball, beat us from inside that pocket. When they get outside of it, that's when they really hurt you. And so that's going to be a big challenge for us. But I don't see them changing what they call based off who's in there. I mean, yeah, maybe one guy's a little better here if throwing at this, but they're going to be fast. They're going to try to hit you on some big plays and catch you off balance. And so that's what we have to focus on.
So far, your team's been on the road twice. You're 2-0 so far, obviously. What have you liked about your team's preparation on the road, now being around them for a couple of road trips?
Well, I think, it's when you're at home and you have a great atmosphere, a great environment. Sometimes when you go on the road, you don't have as much like what we have here. And I think what I've been impressed with our people on our team is they've not worried about those circumstances. They've locked in on what they can control when we go on the road and have focused in on that. And we've been able to get those two victories and done well in opposing places because we have locked in. And I like going on the road just because it's you and your team, and every majority of the people in there are going to be against you. And I think it builds bonds when you're in the hotel and the traveling like that. So I've been impressed with how we've been able to lock in and control those things that we can and not worry about outside circumstances.
Rich Rod was speaking yesterday, and he may have been joking a little bit, but he was talking about their visitor team locker room and how it's small and cramped, and they're not trying to make it any bigger or any more comfortable for the opponents, and talking about Liberty maybe even bringing traveling showers or something like that. What do you know about their visitors' facilities and things like that, and how much of a challenge does that even play into the game?
Well, I was there in 2015 for a playoff game, so I've been in it. It's small, it's tiny. So, but you get different locker rooms in different places. We obviously here our visitor locker room is one of the best around, and so you can't worry about that. If you worry about those things as a team, you're focused on the wrong stuff. Our people that handle our travel, they'll get us in the best situation possible wherever we go. That's a great thing about Coach Queen and Alex Jackson who handle our travel, but. From a facility standpoint, any of those things, we don't focus on that. It's, hey, you show up, must be ready to go.